Survival movies are an interesting little subgenre of film. Whether our characters have to survive creatures, shipwrecks, natural disasters, the apocalypse, or just rocks, they've been a pastime of moviegoers for a long time to grab some popcorn and see characters make boneheaded decisions, wondering if said characters can make enough right decisions to make it out alive. Simple and entertaining enough. Most don't have much substance to offer, more than 90 minutes of brain-dead fun, and while there's definitely a place for that, sometimes I find myself wishing that there was a similar movie with a little bit more thematic substance between the lines, because there's just so much potential there. And then I remember The Gray exists.
Once more into the fray. Into the last good fight I'll ever know. Live and die on this day. Live and die on this day.
Did you guys get the chills from that score like I just did? Holy sh**. Anyways, The Gray came out in 2012 and actually grossed $81 million at the box office, so unlike a lot of the movies I talk about on this channel, people might actually know this exists. But even if they do, they might have forgotten about it because I feel like nobody talks about The Gray, which was written and directed by Joe Carnahan. The Gray has its fair share of violence and kills, like other turn-your-brain-off survival movies, but it's also got a pretty heavy theme and plot that leads the audience to understand that this isn't just your run-of-the-mill survival popcorn flick. Or at least that's what I thought when I first watched the movie. Imagine my surprise when I look up the reviews and find a group of viewers about as divided as the critics and audiences when The Last Jedi came out. It seems like people just didn't want to enjoy the movie. Nitpicking gripes like character decisions are dumb, the movie is unrealistic, or the ending is dumb. And to that I say,
hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Obviously, I don't think those claims are well-founded, and as I get into The Gray, hopefully you'll agree with me as to why. So, if you're unaware of the plot, The Gray follows Liam Neeson, who might be more of a meme these days due to his particular set of skills, but the guy is an Oscar-nominated actor, and it really shines through here. He crushes it in this movie.
I'm gonna start beating the shit out of you in the next 5 seconds, and you're gonna swallow a lot of blood for a fucking billfold.
His character, John Otway, is this guy who kinda runs Overwatch on Alaskan blue-collar workers, protecting them from wolves with a sniper rifle, and he wants to take the long sleep. In a twist of irony though, a plane he boards goes down, killing most of the passengers and leaving the few survivors to fend for themselves in the snowy Alaskan wilderness, battling both the elements and some real big wolves. That's your premise. Sounds generic as hell, but it's only the build-up that's generic in this YouTuber's humble opinion. A lot of the unrealistic comments I saw are aimed at the wolves in this movie acting unrealistically, but I mean, what do you want? You're the one seeing the wolf survival movie, and you want to say wolves don't really act this way? If it's gonna bother you, then don't watch this movie. You know what you're getting into. The wolves themselves in The Gray are an intimidating physical presence, but they're also used to explore the theme of the movie on a deeper level. The point here isn't the wolves. They just make it more palatable and entertaining. The deeper meaning they allow us to explore is what it really means to survive. The Gray asks us as an audience to ask ourselves, what do you have to keep going for? Or, what's the point when things are so hopeless? It does a phenomenal job of exploring the various answers that you might get through different dispositions of our story's characters, namely John Otway and John Diaz, our two main survivors, Diaz being a foil to Neeson's Otway. Spoiler alert, people do happen to die in this movie, and when each of them are killed, beginning with the plane crash, their wallets are collected by the remaining survivors, and this goes on throughout the movie. Not a single character here is just fresh meat or cannon fodder in this movie, and they're all used to explore different human emotions, fears, and motivations. The Gray demonstrates in a rather grisly way what it feels like to fight your way through life sometimes, and what it takes to survive not only despite your circumstances, but also thanks to your circumstances. How do we respond to being pushed? How do your beliefs play a role in adverse situations? Why do we react this way? How do we act towards each other in times of hardship, and why? These questions all tied together nicely through a poem that repeatedly is read throughout the movie.
Once more into the fray, into the last good fight I'll ever know. Live and die on this day. Live and die on this day.
The fray isn't just the wolves' territory, but it's also the world. The last good fight is the fight you're currently fighting. You may live and die on this day. We also get periodic flashes throughout the movie of Otway's dead wife telling him not to be afraid. And you could argue that she's telling him both to not be afraid to die, but also to not be afraid to live. I think these are some pretty cool lenses to watch the movie through when you don't get too hung up on the quality of the survival decisions the characters make. These themes and concepts are explored expertly by the man who brought you the A-Team, the really bad one. I'll never understand how he did it, but Joe Carnahan's The Grey remains one of the most hauntingly beautiful movies I've ever seen, and all it should take for this movie to stick with you for a long time is to try to ask yourselves how these themes apply to you. With shots, poetry, themes, and deaths that all stick with me years after my first watch, even with the way the movie ended. I think any disappointment in the ending of this movie probably boils down to the marketing and expectations for The Grey. No spoilers coming here, I just wanted to briefly touch on the fact that if all you're hung up on is the wolves, you might be annoyed, but I think it ends rather beautifully, actually, and closes our story in a way that fits what I think the movie was really about. So, do you like The Grey? I love it. I think it goes about some really heavy themes in really smart ways. Sure, it's got dumb violence and cliches, but once you dig a little deeper, this is not only a great survival movie, but a great movie in general. If this sounds up your alley, check it out. If you just like dumb survival movies and don't want to dig too deep, there's plenty here for you too. No matter which way you slice it, I'd recommend The Grey. I think marketing and a certain type of nitpicky moviegoer ruined it for everyone, so I'm hoping to give this a little bit of a revival spark. If you have seen The Grey, I hope you feel the same way I do. And if you don't, let me know why. That's all I've got today, though. Click some of those buttons if you liked it. Thanks for sending this channel to the moon. Check out some of my other videos if you like this one too. Hopefully, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.